So welcome back to Street Switch Photography. This is the third time I've actually tried doing this. I'm getting a little bit annoyed with my computer, but this is about 1 second. I'm just trying to find the right screens that I need for this. Here we go. So yeah, this is about LGBTQ 4K being taught in schools, and I think it's personally wrong. Just recently I was contacted by a couple of colleagues. Again, I won't be mentioning any names during this this piece that I'm doing on LGBT 4K being taught in schools. But there's a few concerns of a particular school in Melton in an English lesson where they are teaching children about a particular type of book in the curriculum. Here's what LGBTQ4K had to say. Here's what GTP Chat had to say about it. Please explain the book, The Art of Being Normal.
Sure. The Art of Being Normal is a young adult novel by Lisa Williamson. It was published in 2015 and focuses on themes of gender identity, friendship, and acceptance. The story centers around two main characters, David and Leo. David is a boy who feels out of place in his own body and struggles with his gender identity, while Leo is a new student at their school who has his own challenges and secrets. The novel explores how their lives intersect and how they both navigate their own journeys towards self-acceptance. It touches on important issues like bullying, mental health, and the importance of supportive friendships.
So it says it basically concentrates on mental health and things like that. Now, men dressing as women. There are two types of mental illness when it comes to this. There's one called body dysmorphia, where basically a man will look at his body and not recognize his body as he actually feels inside. And that is called body dysmorphia. It is an actual mental illness that people can have. I have 100% sympathy with people like this, but when you're teaching this to kids and actually not forcing kids, but trying to get kids to actually adhere to this ideology and not letting parents know that this is actually on the school curriculum in an English lesson, I don't believe it's normal, and I believe it's wrong. Now, there's a few parents that have actually complained about this. Now, I mentioned autogynephilia, which is the worrying one for me. This is what autogynephilia is. What is autogynephilia?
Autogynephilia is a term that describes a proposed psychological phenomenon where some individuals assigned male at birth experience
psychological phenomenon,
sexual arousal from the idea of themselves as female. It was introduced by Dr. Ray Blanchard and has been a topic of debate and controversy within both psychology and the transgender community. Some see it as a controversial and outdated theory, while others find it a useful framework. If you want more detail or have any follow-up questions, just let me know.
Now, my follow-up questions to that would be, why would we be teaching this type of thing to kids in year 9 in an English lesson at school and using that particular book about this ideology in school when they could have used absolutely, in fact, most books to describe bullying and identity and things like that? Why particularly the LGBTQ4K? It's a socialist movement, and it's only happened in the last 10 years, and it's come from the top down to grassroots level. We never had this when we were kids because it simply didn't exist. We had gay people, we had tomboys, we even had guys that were a bit camp and things like that, which nobody seemed to have sort of much interest in, if I'm honest. We just used to turn around and say, well, she's a tomboy. She probably grew up to be a lesbian for all we care. And they're in a loving relationship with another woman, and they're living their lives to the best of their ability and everything else. Gay people were persecuted back in the 60s. That no longer very rarely exists, even though they say it does. No, it doesn't. Nowhere near as much as what it used to. Now, I think the problem comes for me when it's being taught in a curriculum and the parents haven't actually been told about it. Why is this book being used as part of the educational curriculum?
It's used in the curriculum mainly because it encourages important conversations around gender identity.
Why are these conversations important for children? Children's minds are extremely delicate, especially in the teen years. I used to think I was fucking Superman. My mum didn't let me jump out the bleeding window. I was running round with a tea towel on identifying as goddamn Superman. Why are they teaching this to children in schools? This needs to be spoke about, and then there needs to be some dialogue opened about this. I've had people asking me to do a video on this, so I said I would. I'm not mentioning any names or any schools because I don't believe that is the correct thing to do, but I believe it should be made aware that this may be being taught to your child in year 9 in a particular school in Melton. You need to ask the child some questions. If you don't want your child being taught that, you should have a say in it. There should be some sort of opt-in or opt-out policy with this.
Identity, empathy, and inclusion. The book
Sounded very familiar, that didn't it? Diversity and inclusion, a far left ideology. This is what the Labour are pushing in the school curriculum, and I find it absolutely fucking disgusting. That's my opinion. This is children you're messing with. This is somebody's child you're messing with. And you haven't let that child's parents know.
book provides relatable characters and real life challenges, which helps students develop empathy and a deeper understanding of diversity. It also aligns with broader educational goals of promoting acceptance.
So, seeing as it's Halloween, my daughter comes home and identifies as a zombie. Have I got to go along with that? Bit strange. Now, this wasn't the most shocking thing about it, in my opinion. The most shocking thing about it was the questions that were asked to the children. Here they are. So, what makes you you? What makes you? This is what they're asking a child in year 9 in an English lesson after reading an lgbtq book called The Art of Being Normal. What makes you you? What part of your identity do you want more or less of? That is wrong. These are very mild questions compared to what have been asked. If your identity was in a different place, what would you be? Example, school, town, country. What would you change about your identity? And then do they make suggestions to that? This is wrong, and it needs to be highlighted. And here I am highlighting it. Now again, the book is called... Let me go and find out what the book is called. Again, I forgot. Please explain the book, The Art of Being Normal. The Art of Being Normal. You can buy it off Amazon. You can buy it off many good bookstores and things like that. For somebody that's over the age of 18 to 21, this is a perfectly good book for them to go and buy and read. If they were teaching this in sex education, I would actually probably support it. If it was being taught in sex education that the 2 men can love each other or 2 women can love each other, and this would be part of the curriculum, that some people, and it was actually identified as a mental illness, and this sometimes happens within human beings, then there should be an opt-in or opt-out policy for that, for the parent to adhere to actually agree to their child being taught this ideology and fucking the child completely, making their head Swiss cheese, because that is what it's going to do. I guarantee you within 10 years, there's going to be bunches of people walking around saying that this was wrong. This is wrong. Protect your children from this sort of bullshit that the Labour government are trying to implement in schools. And this is happening right here in Melton Mowbray. Right here in Melton Mowbray. And I find it sickening. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell. I'm glad I've actually been able to sort of highlight it without the internet cutting out on me. Roll the outro. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.